And we're live. Good morning, everybody. Friday, April 8th, I have Andrew Cruz with me. Good sir. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
How have you been? So for those of you who don't know Andrew, he is a former player of mine. I coached him at Killian High School in Miami, Florida. And that was quite of an experience for me, man. That was my first time coaching. Yeah, that was my start into this wonderful life that I live today, man.
That's where they took the training wheels off a little bit.
Yep. That's when I still had them on. You know, that was my first coaching position, man. Bill took me under his wing, and he was like, "Listen, man, you know, I got this light is interfering on me. Let me move back this way." Yeah, you know, he just I've talked about this before on the podcast. My wife and I were at the park playing at what's the name of the park behind Killian?
Oh, Ron Eamon, the one right next door. Yeah,
that's the one. She was playing there with me with the stick we had bought her. We were just goofing around. They had that baseball fence, you know, the one they swing into.
Yeah, the backstop.
And I started, you know, just ripping shots into that, man. And so he saw us messing around, and he came over, and he was like, you know, where does your daughter go to high school? I was like, no, man, it's my wife. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, no, it's all good. He's like, where did you play? I'm like, no, man, I didn't. You know, I mean, I played in high school. I played for 2 years in high school. I loved it. And then my senior year, I got transferred to a school without lacrosse. So not transferred. I got expelled out of the high school that I was going to, Coral Reef, and then you know, let's tell it like it is. And I ended up going to Sunset, which didn't have lacrosse. So yeah, that was my experience, man. That's how I met Bill. He was like, listen, I coach a program called BDM on Saturdays. Why don't you come out this Saturday? And I run that program to coach my boys that I coach at Killian. I was like, okay, cool, you know, no problem. So I came out that Saturday. You know, we messed around. I tried to be, you know, just nice under the radar, just who the fuck is that? You know, that was the only reaction I wanted, you know. And then I got in there, started doing drills with you guys. Didn't really announce myself. I waited for Bill to do that. And that, you know, started this thing, man. And I love it, you know.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you bring that. It's funny you bring that up. I actually kind of remember the first time I met you. There's a few of us only, but I remember nonetheless.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk about that. Go ahead. I mean, that you might spark something that I don't remember.
No, I don't. I honestly, it's very. My memory's vague, but I forgot we were doing some type of like ground ball drill or something like that. To be honest, I don't remember much, but I do remember meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, that was. I'm trying to remember dates, man. I'm really bad with dates. But it was definitely in the winter.
2010-ish had to be.
No, 2009. And then that was the year of 2010 that you guys were competing. So it was like the winter of 2009, like maybe October or some shit like that. But it was in that area that you guys were in training. You guys were about to start that January season. And so that's why you guys were going out to BDM. And maybe it was December. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
regardless, it had to be in the fall because that's when we always got started. So
right. So that was the experience there, man. And I coached you guys for what, you were sophomore when I met you?
No, I think it was junior, so it must have been 2 years.
You were junior, okay, so 2 years. And that was an experience, man. Then you graduated. You started working with us with BDM.
Yeah, that was fun.
We worked together as assistant coaches.
Did that for a year and a half.
Yep. Then we brought you over with Next Level when we started that program because BDM had fallen off. At that point, Bill had moved to Naples. And, you know, we were scratching for a program to do. And, you know, we needed to put something out, man. We had nothing going on. You know, we had a bunch of athletes that.
We had some numbers at Next Level, too, for a few weeks there.
That was the only reason, though. You know, it was the same kids. It was all the same kids. They were looking for a place to go. And, it was like, all right, we need to fill this gap. This gap is no good. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta give these kids an opportunity to play. And so we started doing that, and that was awesome, dude. Meg started that program. I met her at Palmer. She was, you know, one of the mothers of one of my athletes, and she was the one that was like, "Oh man, you know, I want to get involved, and you know, how do I get involved with your program?" It's like, "Well, we used to have BDM, but now we don't really have anything." And dude, that lady taught me what it is to have focus.
Yeah.
That lady in weeks
Yeah.
did
She had
paperwork
everything
that I thought
together.
would take months.
I remember she was showing up with boxes. She's like, "Look, Sal, this is what I got." And you were just like, "Awesome."
That lady had focus.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of her for that. Now, did she have some downfalls? Yes. Who doesn't, right? I have my
Everybody
own.
does.
You have yours. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, what my initial was, you know, I think she went a little heavy on the investments without having the amount of athletes to support those investments.
Yeah, the
And,
capital wasn't there.
right. And I think, you know, with a starter program especially, you need to start small, man. You need to start small. You can't go for the biggest pony on the lot.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You just broke your piggy bank. You can't pick the biggest pony. It's let's relax. All right. But yeah, I mean that was the downfall of that program. I think I don't know if she's still doing it. To my knowledge, she's not.
I haven't heard much of that.
It would be unfortunate. Her name is still listed as the Palmer head coach, so she was the one that took my position there. After I sold two of my former athletes as assistant coaches to assist her. That's when the athletic director was like, okay, you know, I could see that happening. First time coach, but with returning athletes as assistant coaches. Okay, we can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it went. You know, I had to walk away from that program because of work, man. It wasn't going to be possible anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My role increased at work, and so, you know, push came to shove, and necessity took over instead of passion. And you know, do I regret it? No, because, you know, we're still here where we're at, and now my passion is the only thing that's driving me. You know, so
I hear you.
definitely not a bad thing. You know, I walked away from the job when it was appropriate. You know, we moved here, and that's when it was appropriate because we were moving. But otherwise, I would have loved to have stayed there, man. I mean, I moved here with a contract with them, and that's what had me really psyched about moving here. And then 8 months into that contract, they were like, you know, or 6 months into the contract, they were like, listen, we expect our IT guy to know enough now to fend for himself.
Damn.
It was like, fuck, okay. You know, maybe you guys should have a discussion with him because he doesn't plan on learning the medical software. So you guys need to have a talk and come up with a plan because he has no intentions of learning that shit. So if you guys want to have support for your medical software, you're going to need to either train him or make sure he gets trained because, you know, he had no intentions of learning. He was like, nah, I just don't care. You know, it's like, dude, let me ask you something. What did you do before? He was like, I was a consultant. So, you know, pretty much I worked on everything and did everything. It's like, okay, whatever, man. You know, that's cool. But you didn't learn any softwares? And he was like, no, you know, we created them. We don't learn them.
What?
Like, all right,
Okay.
buddy. You know, all right, Steve Jobs. You know, whatever. And you know, I mean, I get it. You know, I understand what that is because I did something very similar. You know, we were working with software that I didn't see quality in it, and you know, my inexperience was that downside. But my intuition for this shit is pretty good, man. You know what I mean? I do things for nothing that people pay thousands of dollars for.
Yeah.
You know, and I do them on my own just because it interests me. So that's why it's easy for me. You know what I mean? I'm into it. You know, learning code and stuff like that. I've got like 4 apps on my phone that's teaching me different kinds of coding. Do I need any of this shit? Who knows? I may use it.
It's good to know at the end of the day. It's more than what you knew yesterday.
All of it's useful. All of it's useful for running a website. Right now, I use Google Sites, so I mean everything's pretty easy to code. it's all it's all fill in. You know what I mean at that point. But then there is specialty code that I do write in. I just did I created an app for my podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually sick.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just released it. It's I don't know, it's new. You know what I mean? I'm playing with it. I'm trying to figure it out and find out what I can do with it and seeing how I can evolve it. Whatever. Right now, it's a list of all the episodes and a single click into the YouTube link. And then every week every time I shoot a podcast, I upload the link onto this software, and it just, boom, it gives you a link. I'm learning how to do the images now, so I just put in the images of my sisters on their episodes, and I put the image of Chaz Woodson on his episode. So I'm trying to get that kind of stuff in motion, man, and
it's one step at a time. Like you said, back to the next level. Hey, you got to start somewhere, and hey, you take it up a notch.
Start somewhere, and then you keep going. That's it.
Yep.
You start low, and then you build.
Mm-hmm.
Like any good construction, you start at the foundation, you build a good foundation, you start building on top of it.
Yep.
If you just start building from the roof down, you got nothing to support you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have problems. So it is what it is, dude. What can you do? So yeah, that was that, dude. So I built the app. I made another one for the clinic that we have coming up. I have a team of 2 guys that's working with me on it, and it's going to be the first time that we present to the island our program. So we needed a way to check in, all the athletes that we're going to have coming up to us. And it was like, listen, we don't have a desk person, we don't have an administrative secretary that's going to be doing this shit for us. All right. So I went to work, dude, and then what came of it was this stupid little app that I built. That allows them to input athletes as they come in. And
if it logs all that information, man, you're set. You're halfway done already.
The other thing is that our pennies, they only have so many pennies right now, right? We're a starter program. We can only give out so many.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is we need them back. So how do we track who we have the pennies on? I did an app that lists by pennies. It lists by the numbers, so we know who to call out. So, hey, number 1, you come here. You know what I mean? Like, you can know who to call out to, so you make sure you get that penny back.
Oh wow! Not only that, if you don't need your phone on you in practice, but at the end of the day, if you need somebody's name, it's there.
If you need it, yeah. And that's the thing is that we're not going to be running a full-fledged practice to where I can't have my phone with me. You know what I mean? We're going to be talking to people, checking them in, and then the other part of the program, it's a list of all the athletes, and then it allows us to check in new ones.
Wow.
And then
that's
you just
sweet, dude. That's actually a nice deal.
Their information. So at the end of the day, it all backs up to one Excel sheet that we all have shared. So we all have the information at the end of the day. We know our stats, our demographics. You know what I mean? We know how many kids came out, what age they are, what gender, because their initial pilot was to have just boys, and it was like, dude, why are we limiting?
Yeah,
why limit it? I was a girls coach for 2 years. I coached girls for 5 years if you consider BDM and next level.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to coach. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good. You bring me whoever, I'll teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, all right, cool, let's do it, man. Yeah, why discriminate? It was like, yeah, let's not do that. I've got girl sticks here that I can use and that I can put to use. Actually, let me go grab. I just restrung this one the other day on my podcast. I got to work on my girl stick because the rocket pocket it came with, it broke. So I took the rocket pocket out and I restrung it. And the first time I did it, I did a terrible job on it.
That looks good though.
I ended up doing an adjustment after I had done it, and it didn't work out. So I took it all apart the other day at the podcast, and I put it back together, so it was like a stringing tutorial.
Cool.
And, dude, this thing is butter. I love it. It's basically a pizza pocket, and I won't say her name, but one of the Franklin daughters gave me a fucking really hard time about the complexity of stringing a girl stick. It was like, listen, once again, if I'm interested enough to look into it, I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to figure it out, and at some point, I'm going to make it fucking awesome. And you know what that cost me? It cost me $30.
There you go, dude. And look how much you got there. Look how much you got there too, you know?
$30, and I've been collecting string forever, dude. Look, I have an entire mesh bag of string. Maybe I haven't shown this before, but I've got pockets and pockets of mesh. All of it's waiting to be used. Awesome, I just killed another mosquito. We got this bug zapper. You get it on Depot, I'm sure you've seen it. But, dude, we got it inside.
Is it zap?
I got it inside. Yeah, it zaps. It's awesome.
Yeah, Puerto Rico, dude.
Dude, these mosquitoes are no joke, man.
What's the weather like over there?
No joke. Oh, it's fucking beautiful right now. It's what? It's 73 degrees and it's sunny as fuck. I don't see a cloud in that direction, and that's west.
That's better than what we're working with here. Damn, let me check.
It's beautiful. Dude, hey, JetBlue's running deals out of Fort Lauderdale. Dude, I got a room upstairs with your name on it, sir.
You name
the weekend, I'll pick you up.
I gotta check that out because I love my mofongo, man. I went to Puerto Rico 2 years ago for the first time for spring break, and I did San Juan and El Condado and everything, and that was the best, man.
That area is awesome.
Hey,
we stayed there.
The cheapest beer and the cheapest rum, man.
It's even cheaper where I live.
It was awesome. I was like, dude, this is great, and the food is delicious.
Oh my God, the food is amazing here. So much pork, but damn, it's so good, man. So good. Yeah. People are like, well, what if you don't eat pork? What can you eat? I'm like, there's unlimited seafood. It's right there.
I've been telling my family, I'm like, I need to go back to Puerto Rico. I loved it when I was there. I was like, this is cool as shit, man.
This place is amazing, man. I would never, I mean, you know, obviously eventually we're going to have to leave. But until then, I'm going to cherish this shit.
Yeah, you enjoy the shit out of that.
I am enjoying the fuck out of this. All right, so let me give people a hint as to where I'm at, dude. This is how far I am from the beach. So, I'm the blue dot right here.
Okay, I see that.
That's where the beach is. This is hold on. Let me move this thing so we can get. That's 1 kilometer. It's from there to there. So I'd say this is maybe about 7 kilometers.
7 kilometers is how many miles here?
No idea. I haven't done any conversion math on that. But I can tell you that I am at the beach in 10 minutes.
Oh my God, man. That's awesome.
And the beautiful thing is, dude, is we don't really like going to the beach. Like, we like going to the mountains. So, like, we like coming up here, and we like going to all these little blue fucking rivers that you see here. All these little blue dots. These are all lakes and little, they call them charcos here. They're just like basically river inlets. And then if you come over to the mountain over here. Yeah.
I've heard it's phenomenal.
Shit.
We
climbed to the top of it twice. Yeah, it's awesome.
What's the elevation?
Huh?
What's the elevation there?
I want to say it's 3,700 feet above sea level.
That's cool. That's a nice little hike.
That's if I'm remembering it correctly, because
I went.
We were just there a couple months ago.
We did. So after it was, so I went up for like a whole. We called it our bro trip. It was me and 2 of my best friends. We flew into Maryland, and then we road tripped the entire East Coast. Because what we were supposed to do is we were supposed to go to Pocono Pines in Pennsylvania for like a week of skiing, but the weather was terrible and there was no snow on any of the mountains when our trip came ready. So we were like, dude, let's just make the most out of this. Let's get in the car and let's drive. So we did that, and then we when we were in Pennsylvania, we did it's called the Delaware River Water Gap, and it's part of the Appalachian Trail, which is pretty cool, man. It was a nice hike we had that day. You got in front of you like New York to one side, Delaware to the other side, and like wherever. I don't know. It was cool shit though. That was a great trip we did.
Let me show you this. I got a video online of this river that we go to all the time that has like a 30-foot drop.
That's nuts.
It's fucking awesome.
Have you jumped in? Have you jumped in?
Hell yeah.
The 30-foot drop?
I'm not scared, dude. I'm not scared anymore.
Oh, man.
I used to be scared of nature, man. We were talking about that a little earlier before we went live, but I used to be afraid of nature. I'm originally from New York. I moved to Los Angeles when I was a kid, and we did live briefly in Houston, Texas, but Houston even then was still already kind of like it was kind of urbanized already. You know, there was still farmland there and shit, but it wasn't nearly as much as it is now. But Houston was pretty cool. No offense to Houston, but I couldn't wait to get out of there. But it wasn't bad, man. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. Check this shit out.
Dude, that's
me in the white shirt.
No way. I'm doing it. You didn't even think about it.
Awesome, man.
You didn't even think about it. You just kind of jumped.
No, that was the whole thing. She was, I was thinking about it the whole time. She was like, rotating the camera around the waterfall. And I was like, all right. In that one, it was like, fuck it, let's go.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
No, yeah, you can't, man. You can't think about it. You just got to do it. You just got to do it, man. My father's coming out here Sunday, and it's his first time really being on the island in a long time. He came here a couple of years ago, he said, on a waiting for a cruise. So they flew in, they jumped on a cruise, and they left. And I was like, why would you fly to Puerto Rico to leave it? What the fuck is wrong with you? But anyway, he's coming for a week, and I can't wait, man. We're going to go to a bunch of places that I've already been to, but I can't wait to go back. And
that's going to be neat.
This place is awesome. This place is awesome. You can't go wrong here, man, really. And my wife is originally from here. Her family's from here. Her father lives like 10 minutes away, and she's got heritage here. So when we came here, and especially when I had the contract for my old job, I definitely looked at it like, yeah, well, I'm going to start lacrosse in Puerto Rico since I'll have all that time on my hands. And, just started playing around in San Juan. I got a lot of attention during that video that I shot for Lax Day. I don't know if you saw that one. That was awesome. I was playing lacrosse on a 1 foot by 1 foot stone tablet that was used as part of a stone chair on the beach to look at the ocean. So the ocean is behind me, and I've got my phone was somewhere over there, and you can see the ocean behind me, and then I'm shooting at the 1 foot by 1 foot tablet,
check that out.
And I'm bouncing it, dude. I'm clicking it, on a 1 foot square foot target. It was fucking awesome. And then I was just doing stick tricks and shit, so that was cool. But yeah, that was fun, man. And that video got a lot of attention here, a lot of attention. So when it was like, all right, it's time to go, I started Googling a bunch of stuff like 6 months before we got here. I found this Facebook page for Puerto Rico lacrosse. They hadn't had any activity since 2012, so I posted a picture, and I was like, listen, I'm moving to the island. If you guys have a program going, I'd love to help out wherever you guys are at. Let me know. I'll come find you. And nobody ever responded, so it was like, fuck. All right, well, I guess that program's kind of dead. All the YouTube searches and Google searches all led back to Lax All-Stars when Connor Wilson was here on vacation, and he was, doing stick tricks on the beach, which I think was also in Condado. I think that's where that beach was. Yeah, if I looked at that background correctly, yeah, I think that's where he was at. But I could be wrong. Anyway, he shot that video. That video got a lot of popularity, obviously, because it's on Lax All-Stars. And then through that Facebook page that I had found, this guy was looking into it and found me because I had posted most recently. So he contacts me through Facebook. Are you in the area? You still serious about getting lacrosse started? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Teamed up with him and his friend from college. They went to Liberty. And they just had a reunion game on the 1st. They had a midnight reunion game, which sounds so awesome. Makes me regret not going to college, man. It really does.
That sounds real cool, to be honest.
That sounds cool as fuck. Hey, we're going to have a midnight game on April 1st, every year, whatever. And all the alumni come out. They all play. Like, dude, that's fucking cool. Anyway, someday we'll have Puerto Rico lacrosse reunion fucking games, and that'll be awesome, too. So
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to the future. I'm not looking backwards.
Dude.
But these guys went to their midnight game, and their college donated a bunch of old equipment.
Cool.
So that's going to come out huge, man, especially here because I don't know if you've been following the news much. Dude, the economic crisis here is
yeah, I've heard.
Bad.
I've heard.
Bad. So, I mean, it's made things a little difficult, and it is what it is. But this is exactly what this island needs. You know what I mean? To not have to pay a shitload of money to get a program going, to have stuff like that donated from programs that just throw out their stuff every year to get new stuff. I think that was awesome by the Liberty lacrosse team. My hat's off to those guys. I can't wait to meet them someday. Hopefully, I've heard a couple of them are down with the cause and want to come down and join forces and stuff like that. And I can't wait for that to happen, man. The more and more people come to do this, the better it is. One of the things I found out also through that Facebook lacrosse page was that this young lady here with her husband runs a program for college tours. So they organize
Piggyback.
They organize District 3 games here for women's lacrosse. So she contacts me on Facebook looking for a scorekeeper. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. I drove all the way up to Bayamon, which is about an hour and a half away, and score kept for 2 games. One of which that I was just able to record, and I did a bunch of interviews with athletic trainers from Puerto Rico about what they thought about the game, about what they thought about having a team here from Puerto Rico compete, and they were all down for it, man. And then I was talking to the referees, which were all from the United States. They were all flown out just to do these games because these are live district games.
Yeah.
They just happen to be here.
Sweet.
So it's fucking, yeah, it's awesome. So, linking up with her, it was like, okay, good. I gained some good contacts out of that. I got some good emails from the 3 coaches that I met. When I interviewed some of the players, it was like, yeah, what do you think? They were like, God, we love it here. If we could do this all the time, this would be great. I happened to run into, I was asking all the players, if any of them are from Puerto Rico or, from descent. And I had one young lady from St. Mary's. She was like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. And I was like, well, yeah, I heard you're a sophomore. I had already asked her coach about her because she had scored this amazing goal. She's an attacker. And, dude, she reminded me of the Twins. Yeah, she was whipping it. She was whipping it. She whipped X looking like Chaz Woodson, buddy.
That's awesome.
She was beasted. And then,
That's awesome.
she was not only scoring, she was also very cerebral. So I asked her coach, I was like, is that one of your seniors? And she goes, no, that's a sophomore. I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yep. And I was like, how long has she been playing? 3 years. She started her senior year in high school. I was like, holy crap, are you serious? So after the game, I asked the young lady, I'm like, listen, I won't release her name because we haven't made anything official yet, but, I'm talking to her and I was like, listen, if we got something together, would you be willing to have yourself as a sponsored athlete from Puerto Rico lacrosse? If this is the case and you're willing to play here later on when we get our federal team going, play as a national athlete for Puerto Rico, would you be interested in that? She was like, absolutely. I was like, awesome. So, we need to lock that down and that's how it starts, man.
It's always about most people, man. And if she knows, and I guarantee you she ain't the only one.
That's my point.
She ain't the only one.
She might be second or third generation, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The heritage is there. In talking to my partners the other day, they were like, well, dude, we have a lot of guys out of Long Island that are partnered up with our college buddies that are all Puerto Rican descent.
And they play up in Long Island. They play.
Brother, it's better than church for them over there. So, we used to have that joke when I was coaching you guys, man. That's in the Northeast. It's a religion almost to some people. So they have that, and my cousin's from Long Island. He played over there, and he plays on the police league, I think, over there still.
That's so dope that they have something like that. That's sick.
Again, awesome. You know what I mean? If I can start a police team here, hey, team from my OS or from Ponce, come play the police. Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? Like how awesome would that be? That would be crazy, man. And those are programs that you can start that build communities, man. And then the other beautiful part is that This sorry. She what was I going for, man? My wife just texted me about our daughter. Sorry about that.
Worries.
Oh no, everything's good. Just informing me on the something at school. Shit. Where was I going?
We were talking about Puerto Rico cop
Yeah.
blacks.
So yeah, the guys up in Long Island, you know, there are a bunch of guys in the Northeast that are all Puerto Rican descent. So when we start our federal team, we have a team to put on the field right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have enough guys that are of Puerto Rican descent. Even one of my partners is Puerto Rican. You know, he can play. You know, he's a young guy. He's 24. You know,
Yeah,
so I mean,
I'm sure he's good too.
yeah. No, he's posted some videos. I've seen some highlights of him. You know, he's decent, man. So let's get it going, man. You know, we got a clinic coming up next week, and yeah, man. You know, so we've been talking about that for a while. Let's go ahead and cut subject. I wanted to get back to you. You know, you've come a far ways, man, since we last talked. You know, when I last left Miami, we had I left that next level program. You were doing college classes, so you couldn't join us for those later seasons.
Yeah.
So that was all good, man. You were progressing. You know, you were talking about that earlier, man. I wanted you to touch on that because we were talking about lacrosse earlier before we went live, and you know what it's brought you. And I wanted to have one of my old athletes' perspective on what it is lacrosse is, you know, giving you. And
Yeah, well, so little backstory, I guess. Like, I actually remember wanting to play lacrosse in middle school, hearing from some kid with Warren. Of course, you know Warren, and we were
yeah,
all about it. This was back in middle school. We were all about it, but like we had missed the cutoff date for something like the season or something like that. Then I went to Killian, and this was before I met you. I started playing freshman year with a couple other coaches. My brother was a senior, so that was fun. That team was loaded with talent. Just never played as a team, so we were awful. And then sophomore year was a bunch of young guys, startup team, and that team's awful too, man. We were bad. I remember it was at my sophomore year where I was like thinking, I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I'm so sick of losing. But at the end of the day, new coaching staff, you guys came along, and we really did a good job junior and senior year, given the, you know, talent that we had and what we were working with. Because I mean, we had guys that played well, but I mean, that's no secret to anybody. Like, we had probably zero depth after your first few guys that we played on the field. There was probably not a whole ton of depth, which was you know, our enemy. But at the same time, we still won plenty of games. We still played well. I learned a lot from playing lacrosse. Because I mean, the just like the ethic that, you know, the work ethic that you put into any sport. You know, you got to show up to practice. You got to put in the work. At the end of the day, if you want to, are you just going to go through the motions, or are you trying to get better? You know what I'm saying? And that's what practice is all about. And I think it's super applicable to life. Because I mean, after lacrosse was over, after high school, I went to college, went to the University of Miami. We were talking about it before. I was behind on my classes. Like, I wasn't taking the amount of classes I needed to graduate on time. And then it just became something where I was like, all right, I need to step my shit up. I need to get my butt in gear, and I need to kick some ass. So that's what I ended up doing was, you know, catching up on all my classes A, and then after I was all caught up, I was in that zone where I was like, all right, I've done this now. I've reached this goal. I'm now caught up. Now I can graduate in 4 years. And I was just like, well, why don't we take it a step further? Why don't we just keep going? And it's pretty cool to turn around. I feel like the turnaround that I made, where I was like, you know, just this, you know, average student, average kid, to being able to go to school and bust my ass just so that I could graduate early. I know plenty of people think that graduating early is a bad idea. It has its pros and its cons, but I totally wish I was still in college because it was a ton of fun. But at the same time, I was ready to graduate, man. I was done with taking tests, and I tell everyone, I was like, it's called learning how to college. I was like, once you learn how to college, I was like, everything becomes a lot easier. And that was, you know, one of the things is I learned how to college. So at that point, I was just like, I'm done with this. I don't want to stay up until 2:00 in the morning studying for my test tomorrow anymore. I don't want to have to worry about a due date for this paper anymore, which sure, things that you're going to have to do as a grown adult and with the real job and everything like that. But at the same time, I'm not doing that nearly as much as I had to do in school.
Right.
So I'll take the trade-off,
Yep. Yeah, you were talking about your classes. You were talking about the way that you were doing the program, and I want to show a real quick picture here. This might spark some memories.
Oh man,
Get
what is
ready.
it? Oh man, that was a great night. It was. I was just talking about that a couple of weeks ago with Warren. Warren's front center with the white tee and the gray sweats. I'm top right by the number 11, standing on the fence.
Yep.
That's
Right here.
right there.
Yep. This is
that
a
was
great
an
moment.
epic. That was an epic night. That was so the way this conversation started actually with Warren was we were talking about lacrosse in general because Warren wants to get back in it as well, and we were sitting there and I was just like, dude, I was like, do you remember that game 10-11? He was like, yeah. We were talking about how it was that same week we played Columbus or something like that. And they were, that team was loaded. I think they're playing for the district championship either today or tomorrow against Belen, which is crazy, man, to see how far Belen's come along.
That doesn't surprise me, man. They had a good program.
Yeah, well, they're playing each other for the district championship now. But I was telling him, I was like, man, I remember playing the Columbus game, and it was the rule with you know how everyone has to stay on sides for the face-off. So I played defense, so I couldn't cross that line.
Right.
And the ref hadn't called possession yet, and then I realized that the ball came rolling towards me, towards our side of the field, and I had crossed this line. I just remember like, oh shit, cross the line. It was a play-on situation, and then I also remember being like, all right, well, this is going to be a fast break if I don't get it or something like that. So I was like, let me pick up the ball to call possession over. So sure enough, that's what I did. And then I just remember looking up and seeing this kid running straight at me like full speed. Deer in the headlights is what I had. I was like, oh boy, here it comes. Boom. And I was done. I was done after that point in the rest of the game. And I remember I was like, this game, the 10-11 game I was supposed to sit that one out because my chest was on fire, man. That was a tough little injury I had there. I'm pretty sure I had bruised my chest from that hit. And I was supposed to sit that one out. But then I remember we were struggling. And I'm not taking the credit for the win, but I was like, I remember I came onto the middle of the field and we played well, and we turned it around at like halftime or something. We were down a bunch, man.
Let me tell you, Andrew, that was one of your most defining moments in my eyes, man.
Yeah.
It really was. We had a conversation the other day, and I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here on what I told you.
That's fine.
There was 3 players on that team that, in my eyes anyway, there are people, and I only know this from seeing different types of people when I went to basic training. I went to tech school for a year, and I saw 26 people drop out of class. Only me and a buddy of mine who had transferred from the morning class to the night class. Only me and him graduated.
Wow.
I was in night school the whole time, and everybody that I started with dropped out.
That's crazy.
In a 1-year program, dude, this was nothing, brother. This is a cakewalk.
Yeah. And
it's something that, hey, maybe I just enjoyed it. You know, maybe they weren't too into the technology aspect of it. We were in IT school anyway, so, you know, it's not for everybody, and that's all good. But it made no sense to me that they would do that, right?
Yeah.
I was actually extended 2 months because they were waiting for a class to start so that they could put me and my friend into their class so that they wouldn't waste a teacher on just 2 guys.
Yeah.
That's what they did to us. So we ended up extending our program regardless. You know, the point being is that I run into a lot of different people. You know, there's personality traits, there's characteristics that come out in people that show you what they're about and how they can make shit happen. And that was one of the nights that you showed it. You've shown it several times since then as well. But that was one of the first nights that it was like, oh shit, this kid's got it. It was you, Jose, and Shrek. You were the 3 guys that I told myself, out of this bunch of kids, the percentage of these kids that are going to make anything possible, whether it exists or not, they can start something from nothing, is these 3. And I'm not putting any of the other guys down. They're all going to find success in their own, right? But as far as what's already been and what can be, right? Success
Yeah.
has not yet been achieved. So, and what I mean by this is I didn't really always consider myself one of those people. I always see myself as a support person, right?
Okay.
I consider myself like the rest of the team. We're going to find our success, but in something that is already existing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I want to put that out there so everybody doesn't think, oh, well, he thinks he's one of those. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm a support person. I know that. I know my role. With the program of the two guys that I met, my partners, building this team, they are guys like you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are guys that are going to make things happen from nothing.
Yeah.
What they need is a support person, like every good team needs a support person, and that is me.
Yeah.
And I just happen to live here already, so it's really easy for me to have a clinic here, a clinic there. Now we have our first clinic coming up together, and they wanted to be part of the first one, so that's why I haven't done anything official yet. But now that we have this exposure, we grow now to, okay, this weekend we're going to be on this part of the island. We have this many sticks. Come on out. You can play, whatever. I'll have the pennies with me after this point. So we can do little clinics in the meantime while this grassroots thing grows.
Yeah.
Right? While I'm working on that, they're working on locking down federal approval, trying to get the athletes that we already have of Puerto Rican descent into federal play.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been following international lacrosse, but Lebanon made a team.
That's crazy, man.
Right? So my buddy that's on, my teammate building this lacrosse program with me, he knows, or he met or had an interview with the guy who started the Lebanon team. And he asked him, hey, what was your success point? And he goes, I'll tell you what we did. We got a bunch of guys in the United States who are Lebanese descent. We put together a team. We put together a clinic in Lebanon. We took some pictures. We took videos. We put our application in, and they approved it. And so with the athletes that came from D1 through D3 in college, we played internationally on the international level. And then when we went back to Lebanon, we took the video from the international games where we won, I think they won second or third place, and came back with that success and was like, all right, Lebanon, let's have some clinics. And dude,
that's sweet.
Not overnight because nothing happens overnight, but in a much shorter time, they gained a lot of success because now they're playing lacrosse all over the place in Lebanon, I've been told. That's an amazing success story. They started it in Kenya. They started it in China. They started it in Ireland. They started it in Jamaica. Mexico has a team. You know what I mean? And for all I know, that could be Jose, even though I'm joking. I know Jose was Bolivian, but but my point is that these programs, they start with athletes, they start with people who have the passion for the game, and it builds from there. So what am I doing? I'm playing my support role the way I can, the way I know how, and helping build this program here. The coaching experience just gives me a leg up that when these guys leave back to the United States where they currently live and are being educated or currently working, when they go back to the United States, I can stay here and coach, do what I love doing. You know what I mean? Build a program from nothing, build the little kids that are going to someday be in the high school teams that will someday exist here.
Right.
And the way we used to pitch college, the way lacrosse was pitched to me in high school, not that I needed a lot of selling. All right, I loved it. When I was a kid, my cousin Artie played with me once. He brought his lacrosse stick from Long Island because he played in the high schools over there. And I was much younger than him, and he would bring his extra stick, and he would let me play with him in the street. That was fucking awesome. So from that moment on, I was hooked. Actually, he was kind of one of my heroes growing up. So he was into hockey. I played hockey. He was into lacrosse. I started learning
role model type of stuff.
Yeah, he was absolutely a role model, man. He was in the Army. I went into the Air Force. I kind of tried to shadow him a little bit. You know what I mean? At some point in my life, I've gotten over that now. I no longer believe in really shadowing people. I think there's a good quality in everyone that you should gather from them, and then build your own person from those good qualities.
Yeah.
Not everybody sees it that way. I'm cool with that. That's just my opinion. But that was one of those things that it got me hooked at an early age. That was like, geez, this is fun. This is really easy, and I'm having a good time learning this. When I learned it in high school, it was with our coach who was from Pennsylvania. He had a really good love of the game. I can't remember what team he played for in Pennsylvania, but that's beside the point. He was passionate about it. He had two younger sons who went to Gulliver, and they were their very young age. And he was our high school coach. He started our program. He was my criminal justice teacher, and we begged him for like 3 months, and he finally was like, yeah, you know what? All right, fine. So he went up to the administration. He fought that battle for us, and he got the program started. And he did an amazing job, man. He left a program that's still being fought today. I mean, look, we competed against Coral Reef.
Funny story, dude. It's actually my ex-girlfriend's brother who's the coach now at Reef.
Oh, are you serious?
There you remember her?
What's his name? What's his name?
Joel Lemus. He played defense at Palmetto High, and he was Michelle's brother.
Okay, I think I remember him.
Yeah, I found out about it like a month ago. I was like, damn, it's real cool.
That's awesome.
It's just funny.
I mean, look, our buddy Adam, buddy Adam coached there.
Mm-hmm.
Until he got married, and the whole date of his marriage kind of he walked away from it for that aspect. You know what I mean? He didn't want to have to run away to his wedding. Not that it was a bad thing, but he didn't want to have to go get married and do the honeymoon in the middle of a season. He wanted to respect the team in that sense. So He did the right thing, man. He did the right thing for himself, and now he's building the program at Palmer, I'm told. So, dude, everything comes full circle. He's working at Palmer, he's coaching at Palmer. Had he locked down that job at Reef, he would have had to teach one place, go to coach at another.
Yeah.
That creates its own difficulties. Now he just gets off of work, he goes walks onto the field, boom, I'm at work.
That's awesome, dude.
Getting double checks from the same company. Boom. That's how you do it, man. That's how you master your that's how you create what you want, man. And Adam was another fucking great guy that I met that was in the same situation, Lacrosse gave all of that to him. Mm-hmm. And that was conversations me and him had several times on his couch, just talking shit because he lived in the neighborhood next to me, so I would go over there all the time.
Yep.
Talk shit about that, and it was like, yeah, man, that's the beauty of this game. It gives you so much more beyond it, and then while you're playing it, it's just that much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty sweet, man. And I can't wait for this program to start. You were talking before about your classes and how you before I touch on that, I wanted to backtrack a little bit. You brought up Warren before, and how's he doing? Is he still at that same college up north?
Yeah, he's up in Pennsylvania, Robert Morris University. I actually just visited him 2 weeks ago for his birthday was on the
Yeah, I saw that picture. That was cool.
He's gonna kill me. I can't remember his birthday, but it was 2 weeks ago.
Obviously, you guys had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. I'd never visited him, right. But so I was just told him, I was like, look, I think my flight was like $250 one way or $250 round trip. No, I didn't have to stop anywhere on my flight, so it was nice. We took a little smaller plane. It was only like 2 seats on each side. Those things are fast as hell, man.
With the little props?
No. It was just a regular plane, but they were just the smaller ones, narrow body.
Yeah.
But it was cool. We had a great time. He's finishing up now. I guess he's got like 2.5 more weeks of class or something like that. He graduates on the 7th of May. So he's looking forward to get back, and he's looking forward to get back to Miami. But he's right outside Pittsburgh. He's had a decent time there. He played football. He never really saw the field per se, but he enjoyed it. He took a lot out of it, so he's ready to come back down.
I'd love to talk to him, man. I'd love to talk to him and find out if he regrets taking football over lacrosse, because I'll tell you what, man.
He was an athlete, man. He was nasty. Well, talking about that 10-11 game, we were talking. It was him who I was talking about it.
Yeah.
We showed earlier, and he goes, we were still talking about it. He remembers it perfectly, where he's like, dude, he goes, they had this one kid who they locked him off the entire game. He said, he's like, the entire time I ever played lacrosse, was the one kid that had my number the entire time. And he said that Bill called a timeout and finally asked me, he goes, Warren, do you think you can score? And Warren was like, I know I can score. So sure enough, we ran an entire ISO play where we cleared out the entire field. We gave Warren the ball. We're like, do this. And sure enough, he did.
Yeah, isolation with Warren, man. That was a beautiful thing about having a stellar athlete like that. it's unfortunate for me to hear. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate for me to hear it. It may not be unfortunate for him, and I hope it's not. Okay? I want to make that clear. I don't wish anybody ill. But I am curious to know, do you wish you would have played lacrosse instead of football? I am very confident he would have started as a lacrosse player as a freshman, in no matter what college he went to.
Yeah.
Because he had that rare athletic gene that so few people have.
Dude, this kid's he's still good at like everything. You know what I'm saying?
No. Hey, I'm not saying he's a bad football player.
I know. No, I understand. But what you're saying about like the athletic gene, like you compete with Warren, he's like 9 out of 10 times he's gonna win at whatever you're doing.
You can put a badminton racket in his hand. He's gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you do. He's gonna beast you. So it's interesting for me to find out. Like, listen, did he ever start at all on the football team?
Special teams.
Special teams. Okay, hey, that's something.
He had a year where
I never did it. I never did it, so
I can't talk. I
mean, it's just curiosity.
What happened? He had a year there where his freshman year he didn't play. It was totally fine. That's a normal thing. I think it was either his sophomore or his junior year where he was doing special teams, returning kicks and punts, and he had a good season doing that. But he had the same injury problems. He had an injury with his Achilles that like was never right, and then he had a bum ankle. So he had suffered some injuries right at the beginning of the season. And the beginning of the season is the time where you got to be healthy. It's like you're solidifying your playing position. So
I remember that injury to his ankle happening right around his combine for the football.
So he had some nagging injuries nagging injuries that didn't help his cause, but he enjoyed it. I met a bunch of his teammates, a bunch of cool guys. It was fun. We had a great time. So
yeah, that's just interesting to me. I do wonder if he thinks about that at all, because I think about that all the time when it crosses my mind to think of Warren Field, and it usually happens when I'm putting on Chilean lacrosse shirts like this beauty I've got on right now. It makes me think of all you guys when, starting out early, man. Being an assistant coach was a lot of fun. It was a lot less responsibility than being a head coach. But I got to learn a lot from Bill, man, and that was a thing I keep trying to bring up, because I have to show him a lot of appreciation, man. He gave me something that I wouldn't have otherwise got.
I was just talking to him maybe like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. We still chat every now and then.
Oh, do you? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. We're not on chatting terms, but that's cool. It's all good. We went our separate ways. I don't wish him any ill will. I hope he's doing well. I hope the family's doing well. I was brokenhearted to find out about Bug's back. The fact that she wouldn't compete anymore. That broke my heart, man. That was the soccer kick to the nuts, mentally wise. I felt for her, man. That girl worked her ass off.
Yeah, she was a worker.
That girl worked her ass off, dude. She was a stellar performer. I don't say that she was a stellar athlete, but I will say that she was a stellar performer, man. She was amazing. I only say that, not that she was a bad athlete. I say that in the sense that, there are better athletes out there than her. And even with that, she outperformed them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, that was a big deal, man. She kicked ass. And to see that taken away from her for a physical injury, that sucks. Something that was unpreventable, man. Somebody body checked her, and it's what ended up happening. It sucks. But she's still getting a good education. She's doing just fine. I heard Emily's doing really well. I'm still friends with Bill on Facebook, even though he doesn't reply back. No harm taken. She's doing well. I forget what college she's in, but she's in college now. My only problem with her, man, is that she was still immature back then, man. She caused a lot of problems on our team. A lot of friction that when she left wasn't there. And don't get me wrong, it sucked not having Abigail for sure. Emily was a huge asset, but not having them took away this friction on the team. That my last year as a coach at Palmer, when we won our district championship, dude, that things went so smoothly that year because there was no friction. The team gelled from day one. There was no come to Jesus meetings. There was no, I had one conversation with the freshmen, and I only spoke to the freshmen. And my conversation to the freshmen and some of the young middle school girls were, listen, I had the same conversation we had at Killian about the minutes. Remember that conversation about being a minutes player?
Yeah.
That there's only so many minutes in a game, right? And your ability, your attitude, and your skill dictate how many minutes of those are yours. Because there's only so many minutes in a game. Every minute is valuable. You need to fill your time with valuable athletes that are going to compete and do the same thing on the same page to complete the task. That was something that was lacking with our first year, man, because there was no gel on the team. There was so much friction. They were fighting all the time. Every time I would show up to practice, there was already an argument going on. There was this clique not going with that clique. Shit was frustrating. So
that happens everywhere, though. To be honest, that happens everywhere. I mean, where I work now,
it didn't happen our senior year.
Being involved in athletics, what I'm doing now, I see it in every team that we have, even with the boys. So the fact that you didn't have that your senior year, you're fortunate because it happens everywhere, dude.
Those girls, I was lucky as fuck, man. I was lucky as fuck.
Something you really can't get away from.
Yeah, the only early friction, and I cleared this up within the first 2 weeks. I spoke to the freshmen, and it was like, listen, there's a minutes value system. And because you guys have zero experience and, some of you are zero athletically gifted, you're going to have 0 minutes, okay? That doesn't mean that you're not going to earn minutes in the long run, okay? Every practice you attend, you get better at something. The better you get at something.
One of my favorite quotes, and I heard this years ago, and I still think about it on probably like a weekly basis, is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, man. So if you got the work ethic, you'll be fine.
Fuck yeah, man. And that's what I keep trying to push on these girls, man. And it was like, listen, you keep working hard and you'll earn your time. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is if you work hard instead of sitting around here giggling to each other, you're going to earn the girls' respects that are already on the team.
Yeah.
The girls that have earned the 48-minute playing time want the 48-minute playing time and can be consistent through the 48-minute playing time. They're willing to give you some of their minutes. They'll come off to the bench to take a break even though they don't need it so that you can go on the field and earn some time. All of that looks good on you, man. And, so we had that conversation, and literally the next day it was like, okay, I think I only had one outlier after that, and she never caused any problems. She was just always an assistant to the team.
That's great.
But other than that, the rest of the team gelled. There was one specific moment that I love talking about it. We had that moment at American Heritage. That was our gel moment. Right?
That was tight, man. That was crazy.
That was a gel moment, and unfortunately, I think that was the last game of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, we had district playoffs, but we went into districts riding high.
There you go. So we had that.
I can't remember. Did we win in overtime or did we win in? No, it was regular time. But I remember
regular time.
I will never.
We scored.
I'll never forget having I remember playing. Because they had possession, man. That game really came down to it. Because that team had possession they had the last possession of the game, and then they took a shot or something. Something happened in our goal.
They made an amazing save, an amazing clear, amazing transition.
I remember just yelling. I'm just like, throw it over. Who cares? Because we wanted that, man. We had it. It was great. That was phenomenal.
That was big, man. That was big. That was a seesaw game, and that was our first one. Me and Bill talked about that extensively, man. We were talking about how we had overcome winning. We had overcome, we had been beaten. We had come from behind, and we had let ourselves be taken, right? Mm-hmm. We got our lead, and we lost the game. We have been through all of that. He said the one thing we haven't done is we haven't had a back and forth. We haven't had somebody fight us the entire game for the game. And sure enough, boom, that was the game, man. That was the game. And truthfully, that was the gelling game for that team. And unfortunately, that was the end of the season. And then some of you guys graduated that year. That was those seniors that were in that picture. All you guys graduated. And then, the next team the next year had a struggle. But that's what happens in a rebuilding year everywhere. So it's all good. That's the situation I left behind at Palmer because of work. And, a lot of people were like, oh, well, he didn't want to, live up to the hype. And it's like, no, man, it wasn't that, man. I would have coached if I could, but work demanded more. I was taking on more responsibilities at work and using the talents that I learned in lacrosse to excel, man. I came from no education in the medical field. I had zero experience in medical software, and through being interested, being dedicated at learning, being good at practicing, being good at, finding results, being self-evaluatory, all those things came into focus, man. And I really excelled at work, and, it was something that was good for me at the time, all that shit comes out in the end, and it is what it is, man. Someday, it'll be that way again, but for now, we start Puerto Rico lacrosse and we put our all into this.
Absolutely, man.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. What was the other thing I was going to ask you? You have a program possibly starting.
Yeah. So
talk about the interest building there.
I work at a new high school in Miami. It's kind of so what I studied sport administration in college and minored in communications. And then I've always had this passion for athletics, and leading up to graduation, I was like, okay, well, I kind of got to find an internship because it's part of my credit thing. I also got to find, something I'm interested in doing because, I mean, believe it or not, like kids go to college and they go to school and they don't realize till like the very end this is what they want to do. And some kids graduate and they still don't know what they want to do. So I was in that same situation where I was like, all right, well, I know this is what I like, but I still got to figure out what I want to do. And then working and taking all these classes in sports, a lot of the, case studies that we do and stuff like that always kind of had something to do with high school athletics or one way or the other. And then you just heard about high school athletics, like Texas, man, for example, Texas people love their high school football. They live for that. They got their own, like some of these places have their own networks where you can watch these games. And I mean, you see it, you click the TV on any given day, you'll find high school basketball. I was just watching it the other day, high school basketball, All-American games. They had the McDonald's All-American game for these basketball players. You got the All-American games for football. So in that sense, high school athletics are growing. And to me, I see professional sports, nothing against professional sports, but I see professional sports as like this thing where it's just already there, like the NFL, for example, is not going to be changing anytime soon. Sure, they got their thing with concussions going on, so we might see some minor changes, but the NFL will always be the NFL, and that's what it's going to be for a while. Same thing with hockey. Baseball will be interesting to see because baseball, they're trying to cater the sport to like a younger generation again now with like Bryce Harper and all these other guys. But I still, at the end of the day, I was like, high school athletics, man. And the reason why I really chose to get into high school athletics was A, because there's so much room for growth, and B, is my experience, playing high school sports myself, playing lacrosse, because, I saw how much I enjoyed that, and I want to like give the kids the opportunity to have that same experience and grow as a person, as a team, because that's what I did, playing sports. Is you play sports to win, you play sports to have fun, but at the end of the day, when you grow up, and I say growing up like I'm grown up, but but when you get older and you realize, because I mean, I'm young, but I still realize the things we were talking about this before, like things that I used to do, and some of it's crazy, and I was so young and immature, and I still am, disclaimer, but not as much, and I kind of like wish that people have to learn, but I wish that they wouldn't do things like the way that I necessarily did, because there's so much more opportunity out there and so many ways that these kids can be better. So that's why I chose to get into athletics, high school athletics, and I want these kids to, be able to succeed and have fun and do things better than I did.
Yeah.
In the day, I don't want anyone to say, oh, I want to be you. I don't want you to be you. I want you to be better than me. So I work at a new high school now. Started interning there as a camp director, kind of running the show for our summer camp. And then this school year started. They asked me to come in as an assistant athletic director role, and typically that athletic assistant AD role is less hands-on than what I've been doing this year. But the reason why I make it something is because I want to be, I want to play a big role. So I'll do more than what's always asked for me. And then one of these things that the AD and I have discussed is, starting up a lacrosse program, because it's in a bad area. It's in, the school doesn't have a football team. And that's mainly because of like like issues of storage and stuff like that. Like there's insurance, there's all that. You got to get field space. But then at the end of the day, you have to hold on to these football helmets, football pads, all the stuff they use for, practice, and we don't have the space for that. And lacrosse is still a lot, but it's a lot less. So that's our next step. So they've asked me to spearhead starting up a lacrosse program there. So we're kind of starting now. Hopefully we can get something going by August when the next school year runs around, even if it's just like, even if I have, sticks and some lacrosse balls, run some line drills, teach these kids how to catch, throw, because it's going to be brand new. None of these kids are going to know exactly what it is. Some of them probably never seen it. But I'm excited, dude. I can't wait to like be able to put on some shoes and get ready to get to work again, because I totally miss playing lacrosse and then I miss coaching it, because I learned a bunch from you guys too. So I was really fortunate, and I just want to get after it. I think it'll be a super cool, neat idea. We'll be years away from a winning season. We're not even, the team, but we'll get there eventually, and
that's
it's just
beside the
very
point.
cool. What's
and
up?
You know that. I said that's beside the point, but you already know that.
Yeah, I'm just excited, and I want these kids to get something out of it, and I think they will. I've talked to a few of them, and they're like, "What? We're gonna start that? That's gonna be crazy." I got one kid, he's a baseball player. He's like, "Oh, I want to try out." I'm like, "You're not gonna play, dude." I was like, "You're so invested in baseball, the coach is gonna kill me, and your dad's not gonna let you quit, brother."
Nah, man. I was actually playing with a little baseball kid. He attended my daughter's 10th birthday party. And he came out, and I brought my sticks with me, naturally. And so I had the sticks out and about. Me and my wife were playing, and the kid looks at us. He takes one look at us, and he's like, he completely started ignoring everything that was happening. And I was like, all right, that's the last thing I want to do is ruin my daughter's birthday. But he was just like, oh shit, like we tractor beamed him into the fucking scenario, and he just kind of like a mosquito to that zapper right there. He was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know
he came over and he was like, can I play? I'm like, look, there's sticks right there in that corner. Go ahead and grab whichever one you want. He went, he grabbed my black one, the little Rabel, and started playing with him. It took him about, I'd say 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes I had him throwing and catching. Just, nice and relaxed, nice and loose. But he was like, well, I play baseball. I said, all right, perfect. Look, I'll go ahead and show the example. I was like, look, use this as your baseball glove, and instead of hitting the ball, I want you to catch it with it, and then just swing it back at me like it's a baseball bat, except don't do it sideways, do it over. And he was like, okay. So, a couple corrections, because he actually did a baseball swing overhand, and, obviously we know how that would turn out. I corrected him on that. It was like, okay, so that was perfect, but separate your hands and now move your arms in different directions. So one goes this way, the other one goes that way. Boom. And then if I had a goal there, he would have been ripping shots.
That's great.
That was awesome. And that took me 15 minutes. And I was like, how old are you? He didn't answer me because he started running off to go eat cake at the time we were serving cake. And he didn't answer me, but it was like, yeah, he can't be any more than like 9 or 10. He's in my daughter's 4th grade class. So he's in that area. And it's like, all right, yeah, he's if I had 2 years with him, I'd turn him into a monster. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, he's a little overweight, you know what I mean? But 2 years working with me, he'll be fucking down to nothing. Be a little rock monster at fucking 13 years old. Promise. He'll be a little rock monster, man. Be a little stud. But yeah, man, that's it's one of the progressions. You know what I mean? So I told my daughter to invite the kid out and to the clinic. Put a little jersey on him, let him have some fun. It's about building the programs from the ground up, man. Hey, one of the things we were talking about the other day, field space. There's a indoor soccer field right on 5th Street. 5th Street, right on the west side of I-95. So do you know where Camilla's health clinic is?
It's like 2 blocks away from where I work.
Perfect. Even better. So Camilla's health clinic is on the corner of 5th Street and 3rd Avenue, right off of the 95.
Yeah.
On the same street that Camilla's clinic is on, if you just walk down, I think it's maybe 2 plots over, it's an indoor soccer field. and during the day it's empty.
Is that right?
It is. It's dead empty during the day because they use it at night for an adult indoor soccer club. Which
Yeah, I was just saying. I think like we said. I think my biggest issue is not gonna. I can find a field. I think it's just gonna be like a lot of that stuff around. There's like turf and stuff like that, and to find someone who's gonna say, "Sure, we'll paint on our turf," I just find like it might be a troubling issue. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. You know, I'm not gonna be negative about it. I'm just gonna worry about everything else for right now. So at the end of the day, if I have to play on a field for a year, because I'm not gonna get any games, and I'm gonna be practicing and maybe do like an intramural thing where I get kids to play against each other in the same school. If I have to make do with whatever field I have, then I'll do that. It's cool with me.
if I can drop in my 2 cents, I'll tell you this: it's way less important than having lines than it is learning how to throw, catch,
Exactly.
and do that running.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So if you can take that indoor spot and they don't want to paint it, hey, who cares? Go ahead and play. You know, whatever. Just learn how to throw a catch from this cone to this cone. And now this time you're running between this cone and this cone. You know how we used to do our drills. You know what I mean? The trapezoid, all that stuff. You run those things. You know, get them used to the motions. Get them in the motions. That way when it comes time for competing, okay, guys, listen. Remember how we did these things? Remember how you guys couldn't pass these set of cones? All right, this white line right here is this set of cones. Do you attack, guys? You can't cross that. 4 of you have to stay on that side. Defense, 4 of you got to stay on this. That's how you work it. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do at those points. We did the same shit with Next Level. When we competed at the Jingle Brawl competition in Broward, which is where I got these awesome wooden sticks.
Nice.
I met that Blackfoot lacrosse guy, and I bought my first stick from him, and then I ended up buying fucking 3 more. I bought 2 girl sticks for my wife and my daughter, and another shaft for my girl's head, which is that one. So we've got 4 in total of those wooden ones, and I love it. But anyway, when we competed there, man, we took the middle school girls to compete, and some of them had never seen the lines of a field before. You know, they didn't know what the 8 was for real. You know, they knew what it was in cones.
Yeah.
So that's how we associated, you know what I mean? It's all the power of association, you know? It's like, all right, listen, remember those cones we were running in and out of? Okay, this is what it looks like.
Yep.
Okay? You have to work harder now, though, to look down, because if your foot touches the line, you're still there. You know what I mean? And in girls' rules, you know, they have that 3-second rule, like in basketball.
Yeah. I know
You can't
exactly.
be non-guarding somebody in the key for 3 seconds. So they have that whole policy, man. So, I mean, it was very helpful, you know, just association. All right, my brother. Moment of justice. The only question I ever really ask on the podcast, what's your biggest perception shift over the years?
Perception shift. I don't know, man. I just people don't realize.
So I guess here's an easier question. What's the biggest thing you thought was one way, turned out to be another way, and it completely changed the way you look at it? Maybe that's an easier question.
I don't know. Seeing as I'm a young person, you always and seeing how I'm around all these young kids all the time.
Yeah.
Is that kids always think that, you know, and I see it to an extent. It's true, but these kids always think that after they're done with school, or once you're in school, that once you're done, that's it. You're on your own. You have, you know, you're gonna have this opportunity to be someone. The truth is, at the end of the day, all those rules that you follow, all those, you know, all these classes you went to, all the tests you took, they definitely pay off. And at the end of the day, you're still not done working. That was my thing. I was always like, all right, I'm gonna get done, and when I'm done with this, I'm gonna make a name for myself. I'm gonna find a job. I'm gonna do that. Truth is, I have a job now, and I'm still putting in plenty of work, still putting in all the hours. I beat my own ass sometimes over work. But at the end of the day, it's never over. And even though we think at a young age that you know, you might be, it's going to be this way when I'm done. Truth is, it's never done, and you're always constantly going to have to learn, and that's going to be life. And people don't understand that yet, and a lot of people don't understand that yet. That life, you're going to be working a long part of your life, brother, and it never stops. And there's something to learn every single day. And that's what I love to do. And I think that besides that my sport administration major, I think that other part where I did communications is the best, because like the things that I learned in those classes, like I pick up on every day, where I try to, you know, I'm trying to hear you and hear how you guys converse so that I can learn from that and go on. And it's very cool. It's never done, I think. And people have this notion and this feeling that I'm going to be done. I'm going to be done in this year. No, you're not. You better get your shit together, dude, because there's a lot more to life than just thinking that it's all going to be fine and dandy after a certain point.
Brother, you just if anybody unhappy out there is listening, he just unlocked the key to happiness.
Yeah.
Okay? It's never done. It's not a location where you get there and you go, oh, this looks like a great place. Let me fucking unpack here. This is where my shoes go, my toothbrush.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not a place that you get and unload, man. You know what I mean? You got to keep constantly working towards it. It's not ever done. Nothing's ever done, you know, until your life is over. And then at that point, it's only you that's gone. You know what I mean? It's everyone around you still going. So it really is never done, man. And in learning your lessons, you know, it makes it that much easier to pass on, you know. They say all the time that working with you got to wake up
every single day wanting to get better, wanting to learn. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the same position, and that's not a position that anybody should want to be in ever. You know
correct.
What I'm saying?
Very correct. Yep. Stagnancy, man. That's what breeds the most amount of depression. You know. And, I bring that word up only because I have a family member right now who's you know, she's bringing it up a lot, and it's I want to have her on soon so that you know, we can discuss some things. You know, she's had a lot happen to her in her life, but it's not over yet. You know, and that's one of the things that I want her to see. You know, I mean, she obviously knows that because she wakes up every day, but that's something that we all forget sometimes. You know, that we take the luxury of waking up every day, and we take it for granted sometimes. You know, and especially on those days where, you know, I'm not one of these people, but I used to be. You know, I used to be one of those people that's like, oh, you know, I'm not feeling well today. I'm kind of depressed. And I don't buy into that shit no more. You know, those depressive feelings, they don't get a vote. I don't let them get a vote no more.
Absolutely,
you know,
man. You can't.
The shit, and that's not to say that the shit that used to get me down still doesn't happen to fuck with me, but I don't think about it the way I used to. You know what I mean? Now it's just something, okay, let's take care of that. And you go cinching it up, man, little by little, just like stringing a lacrosse stick. Knot by knot, string by string. You go cinching it up little by little. Same thing on the field. You know what I mean? There's a gap on the field. They're scoring from this side. All right, defense, let's work together, baby. Let's slide out. You know what I mean? This is where we got to cinch it up. We got to work together. And that was your main focus, man. You were a defensive captain, dude. That. And I want to correct you before, man. You said you didn't want to take credit for that fucking fourth quarter win. I'll give you the fact that you didn't score the winning goal, maybe, but there's definitely, you know, again, there's support staff, and they're required.
Yeah. And
sometimes the stars can't pull it off. You know what I mean? Warren was a great athlete. He did a lot of amazing things. To my knowledge, he wasn't the one that scored the winning goal, but I could be wrong on that one.
I can't remember, to be honest.
It doesn't matter. But you know, the point is you took a leadership role. And learning what I learned in the military, it was refreshing to see that side of you come out, man. Because you know, as I told you guys many times in the military, I was not a commando. You know, I only once had a gun strapped to me because we were flying into Afghanistan, and the area that we were flying into was known to be hot. So that was the only time I actually had a gun assigned to me. But other than that, you know, I was a mechanic. You know, I led in the sense of I taught, I trained. I showed guys the tough way to do their job so that they wouldn't have to make other people work harder.
Yeah.
You know? And that was a quality that I had because I was a good support member. So I was able to teach other guys who were not the stellar mechanics, you know, who were not, you know, the cream of the crop when it comes to thinking about, you know, the way an engine works, the way a plane flies. You know what I mean? They couldn't think, they couldn't put those pieces together.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a support member. So let me show you how to be a support member, because that's what I know how to be, you know, and I can make a star shine easy, man. You know, put them with me. You know, I'll do a lot of hard work so that somebody else can take that minimal effort to make that goal. You know, that's why in lacrosse, you know, I was the awesome assist machine. You know, I think I scored if I scored 1 to 3 goals, I scored one for sure because I have that one plain memory. But I may have scored 3 goals my whole high school playing time, which was 2 years. You know, but in those 2 years, I had a shitload of assists, man, because I was that David Philippe, but I had the assist at the end.
Nice.
I was the guy to draw it, and a lot of people didn't get that reference. We had an athlete on our team, on Andrew's team. His name was David Philippe. He had an amazing YouTube video, so you guys can find him out on YouTube. He had a highlight reel he released for his senior year. This kid was a stellar athlete. You know, he was another one of those Warren Fields. You know, he was the kid who was genetically fucking modified by great athletic parents. You know, because you could tell his dad in his youth was a stud.
Yeah.
You know, the kid was bred with studs. His older brothers were the studs. They were athletic people, man. You know, he was not athletically gifted the way Warren was. He had to earn his athleticism, and that was different. So I respected David on that sense. You know, you could tell he was not born that way, but he worked hard to be that way, and that was great. But he was the type of athlete that would hit the defensive hole, draw 4 defensemen to him, and then fall to the ground being hit because he was trying to score by himself. You know, sometimes that selfishness is needed. I never felt that I was that athlete that needed to score those goals. I was the athlete that would get in there, draw 4 people, make it look like, oh, dude, they're going to fucking nail him, and then fucking whoop, nice pass. I'll take the hit. I don't give a shit, you know. I get hit, easy goal. What do I care? I just got an assist, yay for me, and point on the scoreboard for the team. I'll take those all day, every single day. And, you know, that's part of being a good partner. It's part of being a good teammate.
Yeah.
More importantly, I think it's part of knowing your role. You know, that was never my athletic gift, man. I didn't have a nose for the goal the way other people did. So I put myself in a position to make their position wide open. When they can be wide open, they're going to make good things happen, unquestionably. So it was, you know, it was nice, man. And the Air Force was good in that sense that I learned that sense of leadership. I used that leadership when I coached you guys. I used it even more when I coached the girls. But I had to really, really, really alternate my method with the girls. You know, it was something that Bill had brought to my attention my first year as a head coach with the girls, when I was coaching his daughter, and maybe that was some of the conflict that we had between each other, was that, you know, he felt I was too hard on the girls and his daughter in particular. He once verbatim told me that I can't treat them like I treat the boys. And it was like, you know, I've worked really hard not to treat them like I treat the boys. But, you know, do you feel like your daughter's not getting the special attention that I really am giving her with the extra patience that I give her? Because truthfully, that's what it was. You know, I was giving her extra patience. You know, it was something that I wouldn't have tolerated from any other athlete, you know, and it was something I definitely took a stand on. And I think you were actually there, scorekeeping this game, that Emily, I don't know if she took a hit and got hurt or something happened, but she threw a bitch fit on the field, and I pulled her off. And when I pulled her off the field, she took off her uniform, and she walked around the field, and she put her clothes on. Because we were losing. I think we were down by like 4 goals in the second half. So, you know, she walks off the field like, man, fuck this. We're going to lose anyway, like, whatever. She walks off the field, and I'm not going to say that that's what turned it around, but we definitely took a stand together at that point when she left us. And then we came back to tie the game. When we tied the game, she puts her uniform back on, and she comes back around the field like, all right, now that you guys have tied the game up, I'm ready to get busy. She starts calling one of the players out, and I told the player to stay on the field. She calls her out again, tell her to stay out again. She calls her out a third time. I turned around, and I was like, get your ass on the bench. You're not going back in the game. Period. You already walked off my field. I'm not letting you back on. She broke down into tears. Bill came to me right away. And it was like, no, I'm taking my stand right here, dude. I'm not tolerating this shit anymore. For the entire season, she had tormented girls on my team to fucking feel less than their value because she didn't feel that they were at her level. And it was like, dude, at no point am I telling anybody to be at your level. I want them to be better than where they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's an
I hear
individual
you.
improvement thing.
I hear you. She was a great player, but I mean, at the same time, you also got to see her perspective, and she, 15,
There was a
15,
lot of
16,
frustration, absolutely, and I understood that
16-year old.
completely after the fact.
Yeah, 15, 16-year-old. She was
I
a great,
understood it during. I
great.
really did.
She's a great player, and she's a phenomenal person. And I don't know, 15, 16-year-old.
Absolutely.
You know.
I have the utmost love for Emily. I don't wish her any ill will, even though, at some moments, mouth may have gotten the best of me, but I really do wish her the best. I hope she's achieving a lot of success where she's at right now.
I know she is.
And that's what I meant earlier by when I said I hope she matured. I think everyone matures. Why wouldn't she?
Dude, I mean,
she was a young lady.
You remember how I was, brother. So
yeah, man, everybody
I'm sure
matures.
Everybody has.
Everybody matures, and I have no doubts in my mind that she has. And what's even better is adding that maturity to someone who's already and Emily was very much unlike Bug. Emily, I think, was more of a natural athlete. You know what I mean? I think it was easier for her to excel, in my opinion. And then on top of that, she had her older sister, Bug, to look up to and to teach her. So she had teachers all around her in lacrosse. Her lacrosse IQ is off the charts. She's probably way better than let me back that up. She's way better than I am at analyzing the game of women's lacrosse than I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm a 33-year-old man, but then again, she's played girls lacrosse her whole life. I did it for 2 years. So, in that respect, yeah, I should be behind the ball. She should have had that leg up on me. But at the same time, it was that maturity level, man. She was a kid. And I wasn't much better, dude. I was 28, 29 at that time. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's what it goes back to. It goes back to exactly what I'm saying. You got to learn something from everything every single day.
Absolutely. Those are my teaching points.
You're never done learning, and you learn from that situation, and sure.
Those are my lessons.
I'm sure all parties involved have, so.
Yeah, man. And those are things you guys saw too. Yo, let me ask you something. Have you kept up with Tony Campagna?
No, man.
No? All right. I've always wondered about that kid too. He's one of those kids that always crosses my head every once in a while.
No, unfortunately, I don't really talk to a bunch of those guys anymore, man. I got my tight little group of friends, and that's it. And I'm totally okay with that too. And I'm 100% okay with that. And it comes to points where everyone goes their own way at some point, and I'm totally fine with that too. Hey, you don't talk to me anymore? Fine, dude. That's cool. I understand. You do you. I'm doing me. Cool. I know if I see you somewhere, I'm gonna say what's up, and I know you are too, and that's totally straight.
That's what it's about, man. And with every one of those links is good, man. Every one of those links is part of the chain that keeps this shit going, man. And with that said, we'll end our live note on that, man. So, people, if you're out there, you're fucking feeling a certain way, you're not happy with the way things are going, it's really easy, man. Change how you feel about it or change what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Andrew, tell the people how they can get a hold of you if they're looking for lacrosse coaches in Miami or anywhere else that you may be open to opportunity for.
Well,
if you want your information out there, if not, no worries. We'll leave this at that, and they can contact me to get to you. And
contacts out to get in contact with me. He will give you my phone number and email, and we'll take it from there.
At his discretion. So don't just be asking for it. I'll put you guys in touch, and I'll be the medium. But yeah, man, lots of success in that chosen path there. We talked about your position there and what you're doing and what your ideas are for the future. Keep going on that, man.
I will.
You sound like you're already into prioritizing, so that's not something you need to do. Just keep on it, man.
I will.
Keep on it and get after it, brother. You know how, and I believe you will. I believe you're already doing it, so don't undercredit what you're already doing.
Absolutely.
You're already taking large steps in your direction. So.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, and it was good catching up with you, man. We haven't spoken in, dude, at least maybe a year and a half, 2 years, maybe. It's been a while, brother. So.
Yeah. But I'm glad you're doing well, brother, and I wish you a lot of success, man. I know you're already getting some, so keep it on.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Be good.
Talk.
All right, people. Be good. We'll be back not next week. My father's in town next week. May do a live podcast with my father. Not sure. I doubt it. We're going to be concentrated more on vacation time, but we'll probably be back the week after that. Hope to have some more of my athletes on. If not, we're going to be doing for sure our live podcast coming from the clinic that we'll be hosting. So you can catch us live there. That'll be in the afternoon, Andrew. So if you have some people you want to show that to, that's going to be next Friday.
Cool.
We'll be on live, and I'll share that link with you, man, so you can see it. And you know, we're still just trying to spread our message, man. So you know, if you have any Puerto Rican descended athletes there, that's another incentive for them. You know, you can play in Puerto Rico someday. I'd love to make that happen, make that possible, and that's.
I'm sure you will, man. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, brother.
All right, man.
So be good, folks.